No, I'm regretting this bit already. I got this for free, this mask, and all it does is make me look weird and depressed, and I'm only one of those things most of the time. Anyway, welcome back to Obscure Reference. My name is Patrick, and today I thought we'd take a look back at the cinematic history of everyone's favorite heroes in a half shell, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, Mutant Mayhem is dropping this week, and so yeah, I thought this would be a good opportunity to take a look back at some of that stuff. And so I present to you this tier list here, where we will be discussing and placing each of these movies listed before you. Now, granted, I haven't seen all of them, and I'll let you know which ones I have when I get there. But we'll be starting with the 80s trilogy, or I guess it would have been 90s. The original Jim Henson full body suit trilogy, the CGI's movie from 2007, and the Michael Bay movies, and then we have a few extras over here. And so I will be ranking most of these. I haven't seen all of them, like I said, but I'll be giving my brief thoughts on each of these movies as we go through them. Now, the tiers here we have haven't seen, self-explanatory. Belongs in Dimension X, also self-explanatory. But this is just bottom of the barrel. This is just awful, terrible, terrible trash. Even if you're a Ninja Turtles fan, there's nothing worth. Uh, there's no value in what these movies have to offer. Tolerable at best. It's a drag to get through, but it's not trash. Now we're talking. It's fun, but there's still enough weighing it down that you can't fully say you enjoy it. And then Cowabunga should be self-explanatory. That's best of the best as far as these movies go. Um, so yeah, I'll be going through these and I'll be just ranking them just based on how much fun I have, how iconic something might be from there, or general like how good the movie is. You know what this is. You know what a tier list is. And so we'll be starting off in the past with the very first live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Now, this I gotta say, it's been a minute since I've watched all these movies, so my recollection of them is a little fuzzy. But I do recall liking this movie quite a bit compared to some of these other movies. Now, I don't think it's a really good movie. I do think it is quite good. I think I'll set the record straight right now. I don't think of the movies that I've seen on this list, I don't think any of them are actually like, you know, peak cinema like Christopher Nolan, a couple weeks ago. But I do think that if you are a Ninja Turtles fan, that you will have a good time with this first one. I think what holds it back is that each of the turtles feel very similar. They don't have distinct, unique personalities. Um, Not all the humor is gonna work. Not all the action works either. I do think ultimately, who is it? Casey that throws Shredder into a trash compactor. Like that's kind of Brody, but he still comes back in the second one. Spoilers. It's a weird movie. It's a honestly I there's so much charm to these bodysuits that I am gonna put it in. Now we're talking. Uh, TMNT 2, The Secret of the Use. Now, if you didn't like the first one, or maybe you didn't think it was fun enough, maybe it was a little too serious for you, the second one is going to be a lot more up your alley. I personally enjoyed the second one a little bit more than the first one, so at the very least we're looking at Now We're Talking. Here's the thing though, while they could have gone with Bebop and Rocksteady for Shredder's mutant henchmen, they instead went with Razor and the other one that I am blanking on right now, but they're minions that we don't normally see in live action. Most mainstream TMNT media, maybe in there in the TV shows. I haven't seen a lot of those really, but um, I really do. This one, I like I said, at the level at least as the first live action Ninja Turtles. What sets it above? I'll give you 2 minutes. No, 2 seconds to guess. Yeah, it's Vanilla Ice. How could you suspect anything else? That whole fight scene while he's rapping makes no sense, but that is one of the most iconic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles scenes of all time, for better or worse. And so for that, I think I am going to put it in the Cowabunga tier. Uh, like I said, most of these movies are not going to be, you know, peak cinema or anything like that, but you can't not have a good time when you're watching this movie. Um, Now for the complete opposite, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. A lot of people seem to think that this one is Turtles in Time, but it is not called that. That is just a made up subtitle for this movie. It does involve time travel, so you could understand why people might think that. Um, it does bring back the actor from the first one who played Casey Jones, and they brought back his ancestor for to play his ancestor and modern day Casey Jones as he watches over some samurai that have been transported over from the past. It's No, it's not worth it. It's not worth the watch. It's pretty bad. This is the one I had on DVD for the longest time. It was the only one I had, and I hated it. But so yeah, Lost in Dimension X. Really don't ever want to think about this movie again. It's pretty awful. Now we're gonna do it again. We're gonna go to the opposite end of things. All right, TMNT, the 2007 animated movie, is actually really good. I honestly do enjoy this movie quite a bit. This is a lot of people like to think this is a loose sequel to this original trilogy here, and there are certainly signs that point to that. So I kind of like to think of it as that, but honestly, there's no hard confirmation on that. But this movie, like, there are problems with it for sure. Like, it's definitely not like a 9 or an 8 or a 7 out. I'd say 7 out of 10 isn't too out of the question for this movie, but it's really good showing the turtles like not necessarily as their beginning, but sort of after they've had their heyday, and they've all kind of gone their separate ways. It really they're able to show you how important like their sibling bonds are, and then comparing to the evil generals on the other side. Which say what you will about the evil generals, they're not great. You have Patrick Stewart is the head villain of this movie, and it's weird, but I mean it's not awful, but um, I'm just thinking of like the rooftop fight scene between Leo and Raph in this movie, and it's like there's a lot of good in this movie that like I don't get from much of these other movies, and it has a really good end, and then you get Shell Shock by Jim Classieres at the end. Like honestly, I does this movie have its problems? Yes, it absolutely does. But I think as far as TMNT movies go, up to this point, this might be the best one. So that is going past Secret of the Ooze. I might move Secret of the Ooze down because honestly, I can't in good faith keep it in the Cowabunga section. So there we go. Nothing is locked in until I say it is. You can't prove me wrong. Okay, so now we're on the Michael Bay movies. Uh, I mean, he produced them, he didn't direct them, so calling them Michael Bay movies seems like a disservice, but at the same time, they feel like Michael Bay movies, like in the worst ways possible. At least the first one. Like, second one still to a pretty egregious extent, but like honestly, we'll start with the first one. We'll keep it on focus on that one. You know, there's a lot of like conveniences that are taken in this movie, like the fact that um, Megan Fox's April O'Neil is the one that named the turtles, and then happens to run into them like so many years later. The fact there's just a lot that there are so many holes you can poke in this movie, and honestly, there's some weird jokes between like Mikey and April in this movie. There's a lot going on in this movie that's just some of it works, quite a bit of it does work, but there's some that just kind of like, did we need that? Um, I don't know. I'm torn because you know what? No, I am thinking. I think I will put it intolerable at best. I think it's the downhill sequence where they're all sliding down the hill or that mountain is really fun, and there's some really good moments there. And I think there are some jokes in there that do work for me. I think the turtles are not consistently funny, but they're frequently making me get like a chuckle out of me at the very least. Um, for example, where they're in the elevator riding up to the top of whatever building they're in to go fight Shredder for like the big final battle, and they just start, doing some acapella beatboxing and rapping, and it's just a fun little sequence that shows like these are brothers and they're all teenagers and they're just goofy and like to have fun. That being said, like I said, usual Michael Bay traffics keep me from putting this over tolerable at best. Um, yeah, so we're gonna leave that there. I think, and like I said, nothing's locked in until I say it is. Um, but yeah, Ninja Turtles 2 Out of the Shadows. This is the second Michael Bay movie produced, not directed, but golly, it does feel like he directed these. Um, Real quick too, before I move on to that, actually, The score for this first one is actually really good. That is actually a big plus for this movie. Brian Tyler does a really good job with it. Like this is one of the movies like obviously you're never going to outdo some of the theme songs that the Ninja Turtles have had over the past like 30, 40 years at this point. But the main score for this movie is actually really good. And if you just search up Brian Tyler on Spotify and find it, it's good. Also, Wiz Khalifa has a really good song for this movie, and it's dope, kind of. Um, so yeah, Out of the Shadows, excuse me, is more of the first one. I think it's a little better than the first one. I think there's more that works for it. This one really is like, if you're a Ninja Turtles fan, this is probably one you should check out. And I'm not saying that as in like it's a good movie, but it is like the first like live action representation of a lot of things that Ninja Turtle fans kind of take for granted. Like, look at how many movies we have on here. Not one appearance of Bebop or Rocksteady. Not till Out of the Shadows. Not one appearance. Well, before I say that, it's very possible that Krang showed up in one of these other in the animated one, and I'm just forgetting. But as far as I remember, he doesn't. He does show up in Out of the Shadows. So in that sense, there's some really cool stuff in here. That being said, I don't think all of it works. I think Stephen Amell as Casey Jones is a weird choice, though honestly not super weird since Arrow was big around this time. Also, you know, so, never mind. I'm not gonna get into that. Also, Stephen Amell aside, right? He doesn't play a good Casey Jones. They kind of botch his story in this movie a little bit. Also, Will Arnett, I really didn't mention him in the last one, but mostly because I don't care for him in these movies much at all. I think he's just amped up to just an unpleasant degree in this one. So I don't like it. I don't care for it. Um, but that being said, there's the final fight sequence. Like it is a bunch of CGI nonsense. There's a lot going on. It's a Michael Bay movie, and everything but the word. But I just I don't know. I recall having just the slightest bit more fun with this movie than the first Michael Bay movie. That being said, I ain't gonna keep it intolerable at best. Now, I probably should have started with these because I haven't seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Batman movie, and I haven't seen Rise of the Ninja Turtles either. I have seen. I can only imagine that they got the 2003 poster for the show, but they wanted to indicate that this was for Turtles Forever. And if we're talking Turtles Forever, this was a made for TV movie that crossovered with the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the 90s TV cartoon, the original cartoon, the one that everybody knows, right? And that is a really good Ninja Turtles movie. Like, if you have ever been a fan of the Ninja Turtles from like when they first started to maybe mid 2000s, early 2010s, like that is absolutely worth your watch. That is a really good time. They even pull in like the original comic character versions of the Ninja Turtles, and they're all hardcore and I don't want to say edgy, but like they're hard boiled and stuff like they are in the comics. So it's a really fun like dynamic that they have. So assuming this is for Turtles Forever, I am gonna put this at the top. This is actually a really good Ninja Turtles movie. So I think, yeah, I think we're gonna leave it at that. You're probably wondering, well, hey, Mutant Mayhem's down there. Why aren't you ranking that? What's going on here, Pat? And I probably should have mentioned this. I haven't seen Mutant Mayhem. It is out technically by the time I'm recording this, but I'm not gonna see it until later. And so we're gonna save that for later. I'm gonna have you tune in to our special episode where we all three of us gather together and talk about the newest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Brought to you by, who is it? Paramount? Probably Paramount. Who knows? But we're gonna talk about that movie, and then I'll rank this once I get to it. Then I have a good feeling I know where it's gonna place, just compared to where everything else has been. But you're gonna have to tune in to find out for sure. Just saying, it'll be a good time. It'll be a shell of a good time. You know what I mean? So yeah, with that, this is where I'm probably gonna leave this. This isn't gonna be a super long video. Has this been going? Yeah, not super long. This is gonna be a fairly brief video, and that's fine. I don't have a whole lot to say about most of these movies. I haven't seen them in a while. Uh, like I said, if you've ever been a Ninja Turtles fan, I think the one ignore three. I honestly have no clue about these two. They look fun, but like all these movies, if you're a Ninja Turtles fan, they're fine. They're fine. Turtles Forever, TMNT are both. I mean, TMNT is where I'd say it's good, like really good. Two is iconic. Turtles Forever is actually just straight up good, and I'll stand by that. Um, but three is just dookie. That is doggy doo doo. But this is where I think I'm gonna leave my standings for now. I might play with it a little bit between now and whenever we record a review for Mutant Mayhem. But yeah, look forward to our full review of Mutant Mayhem coming later this week. We'll be doing a special live stream for that, alongside a special little gameplay of a special little game that I love and hold near to my heart. But you'll have to tune in and see what that is. So until then, well, I'll see you on the flip side. Bungakawa.